pray that we as elected officials just make good decisions and that affect both our employees, of course, and our citizens, Lord, and help us do the right thing that benefits them the best. And Lord, thank you for protecting us through the rains and nobody being injured or anything, Lord, and no major damage. And we thank you for protecting us with that. And Lord, we pray that with this COVID-19 virus that you just be with us, help our nation to find a cure to that, Lord, and bless those folks that have it and help them recover, we pray. Just pray all this in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Wade. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the like sign. The motion's carried. I'd like to add item 9 will be combined. We are adding a recreation grant for the senior citizens. That will be 9A. 9B will be the CSRA RC Nutrition Services. Also, we change it, and item 11 will be a service agreement with Clark Hill Regional Library. And of course, 12 will be the adjournment. Is there a motion that we accept the agenda as printed with those two additions?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Clyde made the motion. Commissioner Henderson seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion is carried. Item 6, departmental reports. The Office of Emergency Services Director Broom.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as always, it's a pleasure to be here. You have my written report. I have nothing to add unless there are questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Clyde.
on the COVID-19, I see you have 51. Has that changed?
Yes, sir, it changes daily. I checked the site this morning. The official DPH number is 54 and 2 fatalities.
So it went from 51 to 54 and from one death.
From Monday until today, yes, sir.
Monday until today.
The entire caseload has almost doubled in 2.5 weeks. And for the general public, there will be drive-through testing by appointment on July the 13th at the health department.
By appointment only, so you
By
need
appointment,
to
only need to contact.
call the health department.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions, Director Brogan?
This is just, if I could, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but when they drive through and get the test, how long is it before they get results? Is it?
It varies. Generally, in my experience, local physicians' offices, you go to your your physician, have the test, they seem to be coming back a little quicker. 48 to 72 hours is what they shoot for the positive cases. They always notify those first. In some cases, it's been as short as 24 hours that you get that result back in a circumstance of a positive case. So if it takes longer, if it takes 4, 5, 6, 7 days, it's probably a good thing. When I was tested, it took 8 days, and I was negative. So the longer it takes, the better it is, I
Better
guess.
news. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Director Broom, I noticed we had 108 ambulance calls, transports, more calls than that, actual transports. And my math is right, that's about 3.6 per day. So
Yes, sir.
you're getting close to 4 per day.
We ran 13 calls on July the 4th. That included fires and EMS. On Monday, all 3 ambulances were on the road for a period of about 4 hours. We're seeing a phenomenon. If you look at the collections, they're down way below the total revenues. that's going to run 2 or 3 months. It's going to run 2 months out. So during the 14-day lockdown, there was a significant drop, and the initial rollout of precautions, they were saying, don't call 911 unless you're in dire straits. Don't go to a hospital unless you absolutely have to. And then we've had the soft reopening, so now our numbers are beginning to rise and come back up.
Any other questions to Director Bruno? Okay, 6B is the Recreation Department Director Glaze.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Splash pad should be complete by the end of next week and ready to go. Me and my advisory board have to sit down and do some final touching up on it. And after that, we'll be ready. We start painting tomorrow and all next week.
Any questions, Director Glaze?
Construction is being done by Jason Rickerson.
Commissioner Collins?
Are they gonna put a fence around it? The pad, the splash pad, are they gonna put a fence?
No, sir.
Well, that's true and not true. They're not gonna put any new fencing up. The existing fence is there. We'll continue around the brick wall. The rest of it has come down and the gates come down. That's to keep some child from just running over and jumping up, so we left that deficit. So a little of the fencing will still be left. Commissioner Clyde?
My question was, he was talking about the advisory board. Is that making up rules and all for
Yes,
the
sir.
park? Is what that
Yes, sir.
would be? Gotcha.
Okay. Any other questions? Six C is the Finance Department Director Arnett.
Chairman, Commissioners, you have my written reports. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
And if you would, it looks pretty good to me. But if you look at it, that's pretty much the year's end. But as she told me, some things have not come in yet that will be coming in, so if something's a little off and you got a question about it, you might want to ask me. It could be something that's coming off, but overall, the budget looks, we had a pretty good year ended. Any questions, Director Arnett? 6D is Public Works, Director Seymour.
Chairman, members of the board, it's always a pleasure to come before you. You have my written reports. I don't have anything to add to the reports unless you have some questions. I do have an update for you and just information for you if you don't have any questions.
Any questions, Director Seymour? Okay.
All right, so just want to kind of give you a brief update and for general knowledge and for the general public too. With Tuesday, we had a pretty significant rain event in the southwestern quadrant of Lincoln County, which is, if you can visualize, south of 378 and west of Augusta Highway. We got about 6 to 8 inches of rain, depending on where you were at in that quadrant, in about 2-hour time period. And we had some significant flooding across a lot of the roads in that area, about 8 of them to be exact. Some state highways were flooded as well. Thank the good Lord above that we didn't have any catastrophic failures in any of our roadways. We had some temporary damage that we were able to repair the next morning, and we've still got some issues on some roads that need to be graded. They're a little rough. They're all passable. There's no structural damage to any of them, no traffic hazard on any of them. I just urge the people in that district to give us a little time. It's going to take a little while to kind of get around, to get them squared back up, squared away. And just wanted to give that to y'all for information purposes.
Any questions, Director Seymour? Thank you. Item 7 is the wastewater infrastructure assistance. I think each and every member is familiar with this. We've discussed it at our work session. We are trying diligently to get wastewater or sewage into the southeastern end of the county, which is the Augusta Highway from the Blackjack community, where the existing line stops down into the Ashmore Barton Road, Plantation Point, hopefully overlook True Lock Road area, into that area. It's gonna be somewhere probably around a $7 million project. I'm not exactly sure on that because the engineering has gone as far as they can go until we secure financing. We are picking some of this up from the previous administration. I think they looked at it back probably 2015 or 16. Director Seymour and I have met, and I know that the commissioners have had a teleconference with a gentleman by the name of Bo Butler. He is a consultant, and we have discussed this pretty well in depth to try to be able to secure funding. We can't do it the way that we've always done it because we can't get enough grant money, and we cannot afford, with the amount of customers we have, to have very much loan, if any. So we're doing something a little bit different. We've hired consultants off and on before, but what we're looking at is asking the board to approve, and I know y'all are updated and familiar with it, that we give me the authority to sign the contract with, I'm trying to find the name of that official name of the company.
Butler Partners.
Butler Partners, thank you. What this would do is, this is a 3-month contract that we would pay him a consultant fee of $12,000 or $4,000 a month. It would be paid on a monthly basis for him to work with people in Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. Mostly it would have to come probably from federal funds, the United States Department of Agriculture. This would give him, what he would do is work on it to come back to see if there's any monies that would be done. We think we got some things that we can tie up and get some money. So we're going to invest $12,000 in trying to get somewhere around 6 or 7 million. We feel good about it. But this money is anything that has to do with the water or sewer that just serves a certain area and not the totality of the entire county. It's not funded through general fund monies. It has to be funded through an enterprise fund, which is our water sewer money. With that said, we're working hard to try to get the sewage in that part of the county. We feel like that's the area that the county is going to experience the most growth in if developers come to build subdivisions. I'm getting off just a minute, but we are doing pretty good. If you look at your report, I imagine this, I don't know, we probably got 16, 17 houses under construction right now. We feel like we're going to exceed what we have done the last 3 years, this year at the end of the year, on new residential housing being done. But we all know that the growth that Columbia County's had over the last 30 years and what it's had in the last 20, 25 years has got to come this way, and we need to try to be prepared on that end of the county for that. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion that we contract with Butler Partners as a consultant to try to help us find the funds to reach our goal with the water and sewer.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Clyde. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say that it's my understanding that the sewage especially is necessary for any kind of a commercial development or anything. And Lincoln County desperately needs some commercial development. And I think that's going to be the best place for it is on that end of the county down there. So I think this is a good thing. This is something we need to pursue.
Well, I appreciate you looking at it that way, Commissioner Henderson, since you're in District 1 and
I know.
and you're way off. That shows that your heart is in the best interest of Lincoln County in its entirety and not just your one district. And that's what we all try to do is to work for the good of the entire county. So that's good. Any other questions?
I was just gonna make a statement, Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman.
Clyde.
It's my understanding too that Butler Avenue Partners also said things wasn't progressing as he hoped for, or something. He may tell us at the end of 2 months or so that, you know, he didn't want to take the third month. That it's not going, if it's looking good, then that's what we'll do.
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. And the motion is carried. Item number 8 is the FY 2021 CSRA Regional Commission Coordinated Transportation Clerk McKellar.
Yes, sir. This is the contract for this year for the transit program where they travel to pick up the seniors and bring them in for lunch. Right now, we're having to take meals out to all of them. This is going to help pay for that. Funding this year is at $19,231. I pulled the contract from last year after the work session. Last year's funding was $10,183. We're asking you to approve, Chairman to sign this contract for 19.
That's close to 100% increase.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you looked that up since we met earlier, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, is there a motion that we contract with the Central Savannah River Area Regional Commission on our transportation of the nutrition program for an amount of $19,231?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
That's second.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Wade. Any discussion? Chair is none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion's carried. Item number 9, we have a 9A and a 9B. Clerk McKellar.
Yes, sir. This is the, this is a Section 1 contract with the CSRA-RC for a recreation grant for the senior program. It's in the amount of $5,000, and we're asking you to accept this funding from them and sign the contract.
Is there a motion that gives me, the clerk, the authority to sign the contract with the Planning Commission to receive this $5,000 grant?
I made that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Clyde, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Chair is none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion is carried. Clerk McKellar.
Yes, sir. This is a contract with the RC for the nutrition portion of the senior program. This is for the meals. The funding from the RC would be for $47,544 with a local match of $3,745 for a full total cost of $51,289. We're asking the board to allow you to sign the contract for this as well. And this is nearly the same as what it was last year. It's like $2 higher.
$2 higher.
Yes, sir.
Buy a lot of food. Okay, is there a motion giving me the authority to sign it with the CSRA for the amount stated by the clerk?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
That's second.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Wade, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion on the motion? Chair is none. All in favor of the motion? Commissioner Wade.
I was just gonna ask, so our
You know I
part,
don't hear real well. You got to speak loud.
I raised my hand.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So our match would be $37.45?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thanks, sir.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion's carried. Item number 10. That was all three, right? Item number 10 is the FY 2021 proposed OES Project Director Bruce.
Chairman, Commissioners, we spoke at length about these proposals in the work session, but under the Chairman's guidance, I was asked to do a needs assessment for the department and how we're going to move forward. Two things identified was the purchase of an additional ambulance and cardiac monitors. Our cardiac monitors are still functional, but not supported by the manufacturer software-wise. Also, we're proposing to do this through USDA grant loan, very similar to what we did with the previous ambulance. The totality of both the projects, however, would exceed an amount that would benefit the county. So we just chose to present it in two sections, the ambulance and the cardiac monitors. We just stand to get a maximum grant amount of $50,000. So I can apply immediately for one or the other project, and then again in October, if we choose to move forward with an additional project. My recommendation to the board is that we purchase 3 new cardiac monitors using a USDA grant loan, and I'm asking for permission to proceed with that application, and the amount is $113,288.
Is there a motion that we go work with the United States Department of Agriculture in securing as much money as we can out of the $113,288 for 3 cardiac monitors? Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr.
Have a
Chairman.
motion by Commissioner Collins, there's a second.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Collins, will you want to say something?
No, sir.
I did, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Clyde?
Since Commissioner Collins won't talk, I'll do it. This is just to apply.
Yes, sir.
And then if something comes out of it, it comes back before the board to actual vote on,
The board would have the opportunity to refuse the grant.
right, it just depends on what kind of grant loan.
If they give us 35%, then that, your flow sheet I gave you, the numbers are there. I do
Right.
not know that they will go above 35%, but they might. They can go up to $50,000 on the grant side of it. But that's the maximum.
All right.
And to answer your question again, Commissioner Clyde, and the clerk will keep us straight on this. Yes, the motion is to give us the authority to apply for the grant with the United States Department of Agriculture. If we receive this money, then we would have to come to how much percentage we got and what the county would have to put in, what they'd have to do, they'd have to come to another vote.
Vote. All right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion's carried. Item 11 is the sewer agreement with the Clark Hill Regional Library, Clerk McKellar.
Yes, sir. This is the annual agreement that we have with the Clarksville Regional Library. It pays for the salary for our library director, and it gives them money for funding for material grants and system services. We're asking the board to allow you to sign this contract to continue this for another year.
And this contract for the 54,188,
54, yes.
54,
Yes, sir.
I know we discussed that earlier.
Yes,
but
$54,188.54 that's applied toward the library manager. It includes her salary, her salary, her health benefits, her retirement, and her taxes. That's the vital portion.
But it has nothing to do with the other 5,816 and 13,000.
Right, there's
That's
no-
included in the contract, we just don't actually manage that in our
We
finance.
don't manage the supplies, correct?
Okay, so I think we all understand what we're doing. You give me the authority to sign the contract They actually pay us in monthly installments of this $54,188. Also in this though is a, service grant of $5,816 and a materials grant of $13,000 for fiscal year 2021, which the library director, manager would request these funds as needed, and it's paid out of the Clark Hill Library
Correct.
budget, not out of our budget. So that amount of money comes, it's not managed by us, but the 50-something thousand is, right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody clear?
Yes, sir.
Everybody but me. Is there a motion that, gives me the authority to sign this with the Greater Clarks Hill Regional Library?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make that motion.
Second.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Clyde, second by Commissioner Wade. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion's carried. Item number 12, is there a motion we adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Wade. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. All opposed, like sign, motion's carried. We stand adjourned.
All right.